this is an art project about spiritual darkness.
Mm-hmm.
It's very severe in that respect, and it cuts very deep. It cuts too deep for some people to be comfortable with, and the mainstream support for this art project, which is very ambitious, has been very limited, because it's well documented, though. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned about the darkness exploded. So yeah, you got a feeling when you were in China in 1989. You mean a lot of things were exploded. A lot of the dark side were exploded.
Yeah, it became a confrontation in some ways between different, very different modes of thinking, like different cultural gestalts. The one that were informing the Communist Party, which is the Marxist ideology. But not only that, my main, and also of course of the more of the liberal ideas that were influenced by the West. At the end, I believe none of them survived. The student movement lost out, really, both to the government and to the forces that they would support them, which was basically the American government and so on, but they did not. Mainstream politics and so on is much more everyday, and it does not really support this kind of lofty ideas that much. It's more business oriented, and it's more. It tends to wipe out this kind of events pretty quickly. Yeah, it does. Much of this is very cynical eventually.
That's the unfortunate part. Yeah. So as a people from Sweden, so you also incorporate your perspective from European people's cultures into your art. Can you? That's what I imagine.
I did this exhibition following an exhibition in Paris, which was exhibited in the Hotel de Marle, which was a 17th century district in Paris. The whole concept of this exhibition is to create a similar space to a 17th century decoration which, from Paris, which was painted during the time of one of the despotic kings of France, Louis XVI, I believe. Who made decoration, and he gave the painter Sébastien Bourdon as a work assignment to do a space called the Seven Arts and the Seven Virtues. And the connecting vocabularies is a contemporary Seven Arts and Seven Virtues. And it's the title 2388 refers thus to a time in the future, and it means to bridge. It's really meant to bridge different times and different.
It's a nice coincidence to happen like that. Yeah.
Which is interesting to do, because many of the people involved in this process had their minds informed by other cultural gestalts. I know many people talk about this as being as the ideology of the Communist Party being important. My experience was really never that political. I would never stress that I have a good knowledge of Marxist ideology, but I don't think this is really what informed the decisions on part of the Chinese government eventually. And I think it's intriguing to everybody involved in it.
Yeah. Especially right now, the situation is the government still labeled it as the students' rebellions, and many of the victims actually still tried, to ask the government to correct the names, correct the situation. So,
I wouldn't pass too lightly on that, because it's difficult to determine whether the very harsh measures that the government eventually took. First of all, they did wait a long time. They did. This was a beautiful time. If you ask about my impression of it, it was a time where a lot of very high-minded intellectual discussion was going on. It was a very idealistic time, and there was also quite a lot of trust in the ruling government. They did believe that they were actually a force for good, many of them.
Yeah. And hopefully they can reform the political
they thought they could reform. eventually this did not happen. The military crackdown was very brutal,
Yeah.
and a very important part of this, in retrospect, is the suffering that many of the very young kids participating in it eventually suffered, and this is still very tragic. It's not that people who are punished that severely for something that was really just a value on their part, a valiant thought of reform in a very idealistic tradition of Chinese student movements.
Yeah.
And to punish them for something that was really good is really tragic, and I'm sure it has created a lot of psychological wounds for very, very many of the very young kids who did participate in it.
Yeah. Also
and it's a very important part to try to heal these wounds and not make them worse. I mean, I'm sure there are people who like to make them worse.
Yeah.
It can be done. I mean, this is not new. Like rulers punish their people if they want to.
So, do you think you will go back to China, like to take a look at these different, spots that you visited before? Try to maybe find out what's the new situations.
I would very much like to be part of the whole cultural rebirth of China in the world. Which is also a very big economic development, and my time frame is very outdated. It's 17 years in the past now, and everything has changed so much. And yes, I do love China. I do love Chinese culture. I feel very connected to it still. And can I be in any way part of this whole big changes that are going on? I'd be really happy to be so. And I would like to thank everybody I have met during creating this project, which I've been working on for a very long time, which include both authorities in China, the Swedish Visual Arts Fund, which financed this project. I would especially like to thank Cheli de Pablos from Venezuela, whom I have created this project with, and also to the New Tang Dynasty Television for giving me the opportunity to present this project and to talk about the time.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Umaerus, and thank you for joining our programs.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, thanks for watching today's program on our Focus Talk. And we present our special thanks to Mr. Stefan Umaerus, a Swedish artist who likes Chinese art and China's history. And also thanks to his sharing with us his experience and his understanding in China in a special period of time, 1988 and 1989. Thanks for watching.